Chelsea is absolutely flying right now, and it's all because of one man.
After Pochettino's exit, eyebrows were raised with the appointment, Jules, of Enzo Maresca, but it's looking to be a genius stroke right now.
See, when Enzo Maresca joined Chelsea, fans didn't know what to think. Sure, he had won the championship with Leicester, but managing Chelsea, well, that's a whole different challenge. Was he really the man to turn things around? Most people just saw him as Pep Guardiola's assistant, not someone who could lead a club of Chelsea's stature. But look at Chelsea now. Under Maresca, they've gone from being a team stuck in neutral to one of the most exciting sides in the league. So how did he do it? How did he take Chelsea from chaos to one of the most dynamic, attacking teams in England?
And as we see this Chelsea side, this young Chelsea side, some of them are playing the best football in their careers so far. So I think the job that Maresca's done has been very, very impressive.
To really understand, we have to rewind a bit. You see, Chelsea's recent history has been a mess. A roller coaster of managers, big money signings, and disappointing results. Graham Potter was supposed to be the next big thing, but he didn't last. Then came Frank Lampard, a club legend, but even he couldn't steady the ship. Mauricio Pochettino came and went, another name added to the long list of failed managers. Then enter Enzo Maresca, the man with a plan. Taking on Chelsea is no small task. The pressure is massive, and the expectations even bigger. But Maresca was built for this. He started in Italy at Ascoli, where he worked as an assistant coach. Even in that role, people saw something special in him. He had a clear vision for how football should be played. Possession-based, smart, and sharp on the counter-attack. Then he joined Manuel Pellegrini's coaching staff at West Ham, where his reputation grew even more. Funnily enough, one of the games where Maresca was in charge of training saw West Ham beat Chelsea.
Well, cleverly done! Very nicely done! West Ham lead!
Players loved working with him. His training sessions were intense but creative, always keeping them engaged. So, when Manchester City came calling to offer him the under-23 manager job, it was the perfect fit. City's sporting director, Chiki Bergerstein, even saw him as a potential successor to Pep Guardiola someday. Maresca delivered at City. He led their under-23 team to their first ever Premier League 2 title, all while working closely with Guardiola during the pandemic. That partnership wasn't just professional, it was a meeting of football minds. Maresca and Pep shared the same obsession with the game, constantly bouncing ideas off each other. In fact, they both came up with the now famous idea of using fullbacks in midfield at the same time. Guardiola was using João Cancelo in that role with the first team, while Maresca was testing it out with the under-23s. After his success at City, Maresca took a detour to Parma to gain more experience as a head coach. But before long, he was back at Manchester City, now as part of Guardiola's first-team staff. What sets Maresca apart isn't just his tactical genius, it's his obsession with the game. He's a football fanatic. He studies teams and managers from all over the world, analysing their tactics and saving detailed notes on his laptop. If there's a new trend in football, Maresca knows about it. By the time he arrived at Leicester, he was ready to lead.
Ardo to join him, and the trophy lifted into the air to signal that Leicester are straight back up to the Premier League.
Winning the championship with Leicester wasn't just about lifting a trophy. It was proof that Maresca was ready for the big leagues. Chelsea took notice, and when the call came, Maresca didn't hesitate.
Story for the last couple of weeks as we await Chelsea to announce their new head coach, replacing Mauricio Pochettino and Carve. It looks like we are edging.
Just like Pep, Maresca arrived at Chelsea with a clear vision. He knew exactly how he wanted the team to play, and he wasn't afraid to make tough decisions.
A big squad, and for me it's impossible to give all of them minutes, so some of them, if they are looking for minutes, probably it's better to leave.
Ben Chilwell, Raheem Sterling and Trevor Chalobah were some of the first casualties, players who didn't fit his system. It may have seemed harsh, but Maresca knew it was necessary to build the team he envisioned. And it worked. The clarity brought results. Players who didn't fit his philosophy were moved on. Sterling went to Arsenal, for example, and in their place came players who could execute Maresca's vision perfectly. Jadon Sancho, for one, was the kind of player Maresca wanted, and the difference has been clear on the pitch. Maresca has completely transformed the way Chelsea plays, and it's honestly thrilling to watch. He's all about using the width of the pitch to his advantage. By keeping his wingers wide, he stretches defences to their breaking point, opening up so much space in the middle for players like Palmer and Jackson to weave their magic. And here's where it gets even more exciting. Maresca's system isn't just about width, it's about creating chaos for the opposition. With the wingers pulling defenders wide, players like Madueke, Pedro and Sancho thrive in one-on-one situations, leaving defenders stranded. Then, to add another layer of brilliance, Maresca uses his fullbacks like Cucurella and Gusto in an unconventional way.
In this case, we have fullback that is Malo Gusto. We also use Marc Cucurella against Bournemouth in the pocket, attacking midfielder, and they can do that.
Instead of playing on the flanks, they get into midfield, creating overloads and giving players like Enzo Fernandez the freedom to roam forward and cause havoc in attack. This clever movement creates a fluid 3-2-5 formation, giving Chelsea a huge advantage in midfield, especially against teams playing with 3 centre-backs. But Maresca knows this approach has its risks. If opponents press high, it can put Chelsea under serious pressure. That's where the goalkeeper steps in. Yes, you heard that right. Maresca has turned the keeper into a key part of the build-up play. They step up to create extra passing options or drop deeper when needed, turning the numbers game in Chelsea's favour. Players like Caicedo are thriving in this setup too. Before, he often looked isolated, covering way too much ground on his own. Now, with the fullbacks coming inside, he has so much more support in midfield. It's freed him up to focus on doing what he does best, dominating the middle of the park. Plus, fullbacks like Cucurella and Gusto aren't just there for show. They're brilliant in tight spaces, exactly the kind of players Maresca loves. Of course, teams aren't just going to roll over. The only way to counter this strategy is by pressing Chelsea even higher up the field. But here's the kicker. Press too high, and Chelsea will punish you with long balls, tearing through the gaps left behind and launching devastating counterattacks.
Lavia, and then Lavia again do their bit. Lavia's released Noni Madueke, who's free, 1-on-1 for 4.
Chelsea under Maresca is a completely different beast. Dynamic, disciplined and so much fun to watch. They've mastered the art of exploiting space behind the opposition's defence, using long balls to set up those thrilling 1v1 or 2v2 situations. And here's the clever part. When their fullbacks come inside, they create numerical superiority in midfield. Not only does this make them stronger in possession, but it also keeps them compact and ready to snuff out counterattacks before they even start. And let's talk about that high press. It's a nightmare for teams that want to play possession football. Chelsea's relentless energy forces mistakes and keeps opponents on their toes. But they do face challenges against teams that sit back and defend deep. When opponents pack the midfield, it disrupts Maresca's plan of controlling the game through numerical advantages. That's where players like Jadon Sancho and Cole Palmer shine. These guys are magicians in tight spaces. Take Sancho's assist against Bournemouth, for example. He found the perfect pass to set up Nkunku's winner in a game that could have easily ended in frustration. Moments like that highlight why Sancho is such a key part of this system. And then there's Palmer. Wow, what a player. He's not just about goals, he's the creative spark who can split defences with his passing, find pockets of space, and even kickstart counterattacks. You can see how Maresca's system is built for players like him, and he's thriving in it. Let's not forget Noni Madueke, who's finally living up to his potential. His speed and dribbling skills are electric. When he drives forward, defenders panic. They commit players to stop him, and that's when the magic happens. Space opens up for others, like Palmer or Jackson, to exploit. And when Madueke cuts inside, it's a nightmare for defenders, because Palmer's right there, ready to make an overlapping run or pick the perfect pass. When Madueke plays smart and unselfishly, Chelsea's attack becomes almost unstoppable. And Nicholas Jackson, he's been a revelation. His ability to drop deep in midfield is pure gold, especially against teams that defend in a low block. When Chelsea lose their numerical edge in midfield, Jackson steps in, creating a 5 versus 4 situation that tilts the balance back in their favour. This not only isolates the opposition's wingers, but also frees up Chelsea's wide players to thrive in one-on-one situations. Jackson's work rate has also been a game changer. He's the engine behind Chelsea's high press, constantly chasing down defenders and forcing errors. Just look at the difference from last season. Chelsea got outplayed by West Ham in a 3-1 loss. This season, they dominated them 3-0.
West Ham struggling to get back a bit here, and Jackson has gone all the way through. It's Jackson, and he's been sprung well, and he's finished. Advantage being played, and Jackson has played in Cole Palmer.
That's not a fluke. That's the Maresca effect. Players like Madueke and Jackson were written off by some as flops, but under Maresca, they've come alive. This Chelsea attack is sharp, hungry, and exciting. They're finally scoring goals and playing with a swagger we haven't seen in years. Now you can see it. The confidence, the chemistry, the hunger. Palmer, Madueke, Jackson, they're all thriving, feeding off Maresca's system and each other. For a while, Chelsea felt like a bunch of overpriced individuals with no direction. But not anymore. Maresca is transforming the culture. He's brought discipline, teamwork, and a sense of purpose. Every player knows their role, whether it's in attack or defense. Now this team is a well-oiled machine. Everyone's on the same page, executing Maresca's vision with precision. They're no longer that aimless side that got pushed around by the big clubs.
In the midfield, they look more sure, and then going forward, they're so exciting. Obviously, Sancho's gaining confidence, Palmer's been a revelation, Jackson seems to be improving. So all across the pitch, to me, they have improved. And
they finally have an identity, and they are flying this season. Chelsea are not just in the title race, they're looking like serious contenders again. Think about it. Only 2 league losses, and those were to giants like Liverpool and Manchester City. On the flip side, they've taken down Brighton and Newcastle, proving they can go toe-to-toe with the best. Under Maresca, this team isn't just winning, they're putting on a show with some of the most stunning football in the league. Possession, control, flair. Chelsea are back, and they're making a statement. And it's not just pretty football. Chelsea is showing grit and balance too. They pass opponents to death, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. And when that chance comes, boom! They punish teams without mercy. But here's the kicker. Their defense is just as solid. This isn't the same old Chelsea we've seen in recent years. They're calm, disciplined, and relentless. A team built to compete for everything. You can feel it. This is a squad that means business. Maresca deserves so much credit for this. He brought back that fire, that hunger, that Chelsea mentality. The players are battling for every ball like their lives depend on it. And when the chips are down, they fight even harder. How many times have we seen them come from behind to win this season? That resilience, that never-say-die attitude, that's what champions are made of. Maresca demands the best, and this team is delivering. Let's not forget where they were before Maresca arrived. It was chaos, players unhappy, managers constantly sacked, and questionable signings that didn't fit. It felt like they were destined to stay in the shadows. But now, it's a total transformation. Maresca has given this team purpose, structure, and belief. It's a completely different Chelsea. Of course, it's still early. There will be highs and lows. It's a young team, after all. Some games will be magical, and others might leave fans frustrated. But that's the process, and considering how far they've come already, it's safe to say Chelsea are exceeding all expectations. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a like and hit the subscribe button for more content like this.